The first big snow of winter fell one night. When Billy woke up, he asked his mother if he could go outside to play in the fresh snow. His mother said, "Of course. But first, put on your winter clothes so you don't get cold." Billy was so excited on this very first day of big winter snow. He put on his hat, mittens, scarf, big winter coat, and warm boots, and then ran outside to play in the fresh falling snow. He began to roll snowballs. Soon he had rolled 2 big snowballs. He started to build a snowman and placed a perfectly rolled snowball on top as his head. He went inside to get 2 pieces of coal for the eyes, a carrot for the nose, and an old hat to place on his snowman's head. Billy was very pleased with his snowman friend. He had to go in for dinner, and while he was eating, one of his wiggly teeth fell out. His mother reminded him to put the tooth under his pillow for the tooth fairy. "The tooth fairy can wave her magic wand and turn your tooth into money," said Billy's mother. Billy said, "Thanks, Mom," and put the tooth in his pocket. He went outside to play in the snow and look at his snowman for a while before he had to go to bed. He decided he would put his tooth under the snowman's hat to see if the tooth fairy would find the tooth. The tooth fairy came overnight while Billy was sleeping and visited his snowman. Of course, she found the tooth under his hat. She waved her magic wand over the tooth, and it turned into a shiny new quarter. She then sprinkled her fairy dust all over the snowman's hat and the coin. When Billy woke up the next day, he ran outside to see if the tooth fairy had found the tooth underneath his snowman's hat. Billy then realized his snowman had moved overnight. There were tracks in the snow, too. When he looked right in his snowman's eyes, something was very different. All of a sudden, the snowman sneezed. Billy was totally surprised and a little scared. "This can't be real. You can't be alive," said Billy. "Are you sure about that?" asked the snowman. Billy couldn't believe it. "Well, a snowman can't talk or sneeze or even walk," said Billy. "Well, if you say so," said the snowman. Then the snowman lifted up his old hat to reveal the shiny new coin left by the tooth fairy. "By the way, I think this is yours," he said, pointing to the coin. "You are alive!" shouted Billy. The snowman gave Billy the coin. Billy smiled the biggest smile he had ever smiled. "It must have been the tooth fairy. She must have made you come alive," said Billy. He was so thrilled to have a real live snowman friend. He gave the snowman a big hug. For the rest of the winter, Billy and the snowman were inseparable. They played together all day, every day, from morning until bedtime. They had more fun than anyone could ever have. Finally, spring came, and it began to get warmer and warmer. One morning, Billy ran outside to play with the snowman, and he was nowhere to be found. All that Billy found was the old hat laying in the yard. Billy picked up the hat, and to his surprise, he found a tiny little snowman. His snowman had melted down to a tiny 6-inch tall mini snowman. The snowman thanked Billy for a great winter. Billy was a little sad, but the snowman reminded Billy all he needed to do was build him again next winter. The snowman promised Billy he would return. Billy made him pinky promise. and said he would miss him during the summer. The Snowman and Billy said goodbye and promised to have as much fun the next winter. They would remain great friends forever. The end. Long ago in a small village, a woodcarver named Geppetto made a wooden puppet. It looked so much like a real boy that Geppetto gave it a name, Pinocchio. The old man was so happy, he showed the puppet to his cat Figaro and his goldfish Cleo. As Geppetto showed his puppet to his dear pets, a small cricket named Jiminy Cricket snuck into Geppetto's house to have a warm night's sleep. Jiminy Cricket watched as Geppetto set the puppet down and gazed out the window at the stars. "Look at that! The wishing star!" Geppetto cried. Geppetto wished Pinocchio was a real boy. Soon it was bedtime, and Geppetto, Figaro, Cleo, and Jiminy Cricket all fell asleep. Before long, a beautiful light filled the workshop and woke up Jiminy Cricket. It was the Blue Fairy. She had heard Geppetto's wish and was there to make Pinocchio a real boy. She touched the puppet with her magic wand, and Pinocchio came to life. But Pinocchio had to prove he was brave, truthful, and unselfish to become a real boy. The Blue Fairy knew Pinocchio would need help, so she made Jiminy Cricket his helper, so he would help him to choose between right and wrong, and prove himself. Geppetto was delighted with Pinocchio, and he sent him off to school like a good parent. On the way to school, Pinocchio met a sly fox, who said Pinocchio could make a lot of money and didn't have to go to school. Jiminy Cricket didn't trust the sly fox. The sly fox said he could spend all of his time having fun in the theater instead of studying at school. Pinocchio said, "Okay!" and off he went with the sly fox to the theater owner. That night, the theater owner put Pinocchio on stage. He was a big hit as he sang and danced for the crowd. The crowd threw money on the stage. Jiminy Cricket, who was in the crowd, worried. After the show, the theater owner locked Pinocchio up and said, "You will live here and make me lots of money." Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket wondered how he could escape. Luckily, the Blue Fairy arrived. She asked Pinocchio why he missed school. He lied. She asked him more questions, and each time he told a lie, his nose grew longer and longer. The Blue Fairy reminded him to tell the truth if he wanted to be a real boy. Pinocchio promised he would tell the truth. She fixed his nose and set him free. The next day, Pinocchio met the sly fox again. The sly fox convinced Pinocchio to not go to school, but instead play and have fun all day. Pinocchio followed the fox, not returning home after regular school time. Geppetto was worried and went to look for Pinocchio. Geppetto sailed his boat to search for Pinocchio, and he was swallowed up by a huge whale. When Pinocchio returned home from playing all day, he found this out, and he knew he must save Geppetto. Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket found the huge whale, and they teased him with the fish. The whale grabbed the fish, the pole, Pinocchio, and Jiminy Cricket, and they were all swallowed into his belly. They found Geppetto in the whale's belly too. They must find a way to escape from the whale. They decided they would make the whale sneeze, and they would all escape when the whale opened his mouth. It worked, but when the whale saw them in the water, he thrashed around, knocking everyone about. Pinocchio had to grab Geppetto to save him. After a while, the water settled down and Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket awoke on the beach. They found Pinocchio lying lifeless on the rocks. Geppetto was heartbroken, and he carried his son home in his arms, convinced he had lost Pinocchio forever. Back in the workshop, Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket cried, and then all of a sudden, the blue fairy appeared. She touched her wand on Pinocchio and said, "Awake!" Pinocchio awoke, and the blue fairy said, "By saving Geppetto, you have proven yourself to be brave, truthful, and unselfish." "I am a real boy!" shouted Pinocchio. Pinocchio, Geppetto, Jiminy Cricket, and all the pets celebrated and danced as Geppetto's wish had come true. Pinocchio was a real boy. A long time ago, a beautiful young woman was forced to live in an enchanted castle with a hideous beast. Belle had agreed to be his prisoner in place of her father. Belle soon discovered that she and the beast were not the only people living in the enchanted castle. To her surprise, she found out that the former servants of the castle had been magically transformed into everyday objects: a teapot, a teacup, a candelabra, a clock. Meanwhile, the beast was very nervous. A long, long time ago, the evil witch who had turned him from a handsome prince into an ugly beast had warned him that he must learn to love and be loved to break the spell and turn back into a handsome prince. He had lost all hope until he met Belle. He was afraid she would never ever see him as a prince, but only as a monster. "She is so beautiful, and just look at me," he shouted to the servants. Mrs. Potts, the teapot, told him, "You must help her see past all that," she said. The candelabra agreed with Mrs. Potts. They told the beast to be a gentleman, compliment her, be kind, gentle, and sincere, but mostly to control his temper. The beast invited Belle to dinner, but she said, "No, thank you." The beast got very angry and roared, "If she doesn't eat with me, she doesn't eat at all." Despite their master's orders, Mrs. Potts secretly fed Belle dinner. Mrs. Potts and the other servants entertained Belle, and they all laughed and sang, "Be our guest." Belle was very fond of all the servants, but wanted nothing to do with the beast. Only after he proved that he cared by protecting her from the wolves did she begin to trust him. Slowly over time, they became friends. One day, as they played in the snow, Belle watched the beast hand feed the birds, and she realized there was a side of him she had never seen before. A kind and gentle side. The beast was so happy that Belle was no longer afraid of him. The beast wanted to give Belle a special gift for bringing happiness back into his life. He asked Belle to cover her eyes, and he led her into an enormous library. Belle could not believe her eyes when she saw all of the books. "They're all yours," said the beast. He knew how much she loved books. "Oh, thank you so much," she smiled. Belle read many books to the beast, and their friendship grew very strong. They each found they could talk and laugh with each other as they could with no one else. One night, a very special evening was planned. The beast wanted everything to be perfect. He worried very much about how he looked. The candelabra and mantel clock helped him to get ready. They told the beast how handsome and elegant he looked. When he saw Belle looking so beautiful in her ball gown, the beast bowed. At dinner, the beast was the perfect gentleman, and when Mrs. Potts began to sing a love song, the beast asked Belle to dance. She said yes, and they danced in each other's arms. The servants watching from the doorway were so happy for the beast. They would not have guessed that the beast's love for Belle would send her away, but he told Belle she was free to go. He could no longer keep her a prisoner. Belle left to visit her sick father. The beast's heart was broken. Villagers attacked his castle and he could not fight. He let them come in. Belle realized she belonged with the beast and returned to find him. Belle found the beast wounded and dying. "At least I get to see you one last time," said the beast, gazing into Belle's eyes. "No," cried Belle. "I love you." All of a sudden, a great beam of light beamed down on the beast. He returned to his human form. Belle stared at the handsome prince in front of her. "Belle, it's me," he assured her. Looking deep into his eyes, she saw her friend's gentleness and love. "It is you," Belle cried, and she kissed him joyfully. Fireworks lit up the sky, and all the servants became humans again. To celebrate this great event, the prince and Belle had a fantastic ball in their shining perfect castle. Belle wore her stunning evening gown, and the prince looked handsome and dashing. All the servant friends attended the grand ball as well. Belle and the prince danced in each other's arms all night. It was very clear for all to see how much they were in love. Belle and the prince lived happily ever after.
Wow.